Have you ever wondered why Planet Zoo is such a success? Have you ever wondered what is the core feature that makes this game so special, despite its, well, some flaws, some glitches, and definitely not because of that. But why is Planet Zoo such a great game for so many people to always return to and play so many hours? In today's video, we are going to discuss exactly what is the core feature of this game that makes it so special. So, if you're interested, let's do this. Alright, so I have well over 1,000 hours in this game, and I bet many of you have too. But I've done so many things. I've built habitats, I've built high mountains, I've built deep seas, I've built the most crazy domes, and I've done so many things in the game. But none of these things are actually the main reason why this game is so special. Now, to understand what I'm going to get to today is, well, actually understanding what this game changed in this big span of all the zoo games, and in fact also in the span of simulation and building games. Now, before we really talk about that core thing, we have to talk about a couple of things that Planet Zoo really established in a way and makes it so special. So let's focus on a couple of things first. So obviously, Planet Zoo took all the strengths of, well, Planet Coaster in a way, because that's like almost like a sister or brother, however you want. They took the piece by piece building, which is super powerful. They took the absolutely inspirational guests. By the way, if you're interested why the guests are so special, check out the video I made about guests a couple of months ago. And also, they have introduced a lot of cool things in foliage systems and however this works. It's most definitely not because of the pass system though, just spoiling that ahead. But you have to understand, they took all the ingredients that made Planet Coaster a very good game. Maybe not that crazy good game, but a very good game, and definitely a very, very neat installation in the management and simulation games. But Planet Zoo took it a whole leap forward in one specific area. And this specific area has to do with, well, the main heroes of every zoo game, and that is the animals. So I guess we have to talk about the animals a bit more in detail, shall we? The Planet Zoo animals are mostly absolutely phenomenal. I mean mostly because not every single animal maybe is done like to perfection, but the overall quality of the animals that Planet Zoo and Frontier gave us is just ridiculous. It definitely is amongst the best ever animals you have seen in any computer game. Granted, obviously they might not have the same quality as in some FPS games or in some story-driven games from an EU perspective that just have hard-coded animals that may look even better and the fur shaders go a little more crazy. But in terms of like living, breathing digital animals, they are much to the liking of us, and they are very much the best animals you can ever imagine. And obviously they are most likely, and I guess even for sure, the best animals in any zoo game. But I'm not really talking about the animals as like a design piece or as like the model or the fur shader, which is a great shader, by the way. It's not the best fur shader I've ever seen in my life, but it's definitely amongst the best I've seen. But it's really not about that. It's really not about the models of the animals. It's also not about the animation, at least not directly. So you might wonder at this point, what the hell is this dude even talking about? Now we are going to talk about what is the core feature that makes this game so special. Now, it is the locomotion system, and I do have to get a little more technical here. So, Planet Zoo features a system in which the animals can move freely in the environment you built for them. And even though you might think this is something you have already seen, it is clearly not. It is just so much better. It is so much better than in any other game that features animals as part of the actual game, because Frontier has not gone 1 or 2 steps, they have got 3 steps forward from, for example, the old Zoo Tycoon games. And why is that the case, and why does this lead most likely inevitably to these glitches and stuff you've seen at the beginning of the video? Well, because it is so damn new and it brings so many new things to the table that it is just obviously that it has some potential problems in the early stages, and simply because that's the first time ever they've done this, it just creates that. But equally, it creates something so unique to a game that it will make you always come back to the game. And at least for me, this is the core reason. Seeing my digital animals really enjoying the habitat I built for them in its full glory is just ridiculous. And yes, I've been complaining quite a lot. about this. But this is for a good reason, because I know how good it can be. So my expectations have become so ridiculously high that I just feel like this is also one of the core reasons, or it is actually the core reason that makes me love the game so much. You can, and you just have to let that sink in. You have all the tools from Planet Coaster, and you can build a habitat for animals and they can use it. And we're not even talking about predefined pieces. For example, enrichment pieces are exactly these type of pieces. No, we are talking about all the creativity at your hand, and you can build that, and the animals do use it. So the locomotion system they built is working as follows. You have the animal, and the animal has a set of animations. And this set of animations, to be fair, is quite big. So Frontier has done a great job in doing all these different sets of animations. So big cats have like, for example, they have like a, you have to imagine it like this. There is like a big cat, and the big cat has like a backpack. And in this backpack, there is a range of, let's say, 80 different animations. And these animations can be pulled off the backpack and be used depending on what the animal wants to do in the given habitat. So there are a lot of things happening at the same time. So let's say, for example, the tiger wants to go from spot A to spot B and take a little nap over there. So what happens if this cat is, starting to do that? It does scan for the perfect way to get there. And on this way, there might be some obstacles. And to overcome these obstacles, well, there is where the magic happens. The tiger is now pulling off all these animations depending on what is happening with the obstacles. So for example, there's a river, so it has to swim through. So at the moment they touch the water, the game notices, okay, there's like water, it's getting deeper, and as soon as a certain depth is reached, the animation set changes from walking into swimming. And in the water, they do find the locomotion. And if they want to dive, for example, to grab some food from the fish feeder, well, you guessed it, they start diving and, they take the diving animation out of that backpack. I feel like this is one of the most powerful systems in this game, because that made sure that nothing ever looks the same in the game. It'll always create a completely and immersive way of exploring the habitat. So what happens if you get rid of the river? Well, actually, they have to find a new way. And maybe on that way, they start jumping, they start climbing, they start doing whatever they need to do to get to this point. And this is so powerful, and this is so unseen in comparison to other games, that this will always drag you back in and, make you feel like having the power to build them more and better and better and better habitats. So whatever I create in terms of my creativity and building and stuff, it can actually be used. And I'm one of these people or persons that really wants the creation to be used. I really always feel kind of meh if I build like a playground and no kids can use it. So I'm a big fan of the new guest enrichment items, I want to call them. So the more interaction they have, the better. And with the animals, this is like a sheer endless level of possibilities, or like, the customizability, because your animals will effectively use what you've given them, and the locomotion system will make that look most of the times really great. But we have to understand that this is the first time ever such a system has to be implemented into a game. And this system always has to be improved over time. And so it is just very much obvious that there will still be a lot of issues with the system. But however, I feel like Frontier did the right thing. They didn't conform with what would be the more easy way to go and basically only offer a lot of new pieces and do some scripted animations, what you most likely see with a lot of these enrichment items. Of course, it looks absolutely amazing how they, the bear, for example, swings down in this hammock and just enjoys there. But you've seen that like 2, 3, 4 times, and it's becoming boring, And so I love the way that Frontier has basically freed themselves from that. And in the past, like Zoo Tycoon 1 or 2 or 3, of course, there was always like a level of freedom in the animals, what they did, but it never had this amount of detail and this level of customizability. Of course, in Zoo Tycoon 2, you'd also kind of piece by piece, a lot was modded later on, but it's never been that crazy, It's just so many steps forward. I love the fact that we have this system, and I'm very sure that this is the core feature that brings you back, because whenever there's a new animal brought to the game, It is offering you just another asset that is going to fill your creation with life. And that is the core reason why people come back and want to play, why we've got so many hours in this game. Of course, it has a huge customizability, but seeing the animals flourishing in there with a highly complicated and complex system is making me always smile, despite the fact we have, again, a lot of issues with that. But when you see your animals, walk your habitat the next time, remember how much time and effort has gone into creating this locomotion system that makes your creation feel alive. Because imagine you have an animal that just has 6 different variants of a habitat, and you have to see these 6 variants all over the time. Isn't it better to have 6 million plus options and just change a stone and you have 6 million another? That's so great, and I love this feature, and that's why we all love this game so much, isn't it?